Hello and a warm welcome back to the WenDirkCast. As always, we will be discussing latest MFL updates, transfers, developments, and so much more that has gone on over the last week or so. One important note before we get started: none of what we chat about is financial advice. Do your own scouting or hire a director of Metaverse Football. Today is going to be a wonderful episode. We've got probably the biggest studio we've had since episode 100, where a couple of the faces on here will be familiar from that episode. Let me introduce them one by one. First of all, he's been on a couple of times now. This will be his third time. Oh no, fourth time actually. Two of you got fourth time. He's probably the first MFL manager who has had his name chanted in a primary school somewhere in Scotland. I'm going to leave it at that. If you know, you know. Welcome, Zootert. How are you doing, sir?
Very good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. We just said before this, I wasn't sure how that was going to come out, if it's going to stay in or not. It probably will, but if you know, you know. He's just finished a big old pizza. He's probably now munching in some cookies. If you're purely on the audio side, I apologise. But none of them. Palmer, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. Just trying to get the pepperoni out the teeth so we can crack on. But
Love that. And making his inaugural appearance on the podcast, I know someone that many of the community will love to listen to. It's none other than the Snake. How are you doing, sir? Welcome.
Great. Yeah, nice to be on, finally.
Good to have you on as well. Because you three have recently come back from a little excursion to Germany a couple of weeks ago to go watch to go see Snake, but it was to go to see the Hanover Schalke game. Maybe I'll leave that there with regards to that football match.
We won't talk about any results on the trip.
Wasn't it you saw, 3 or 4 matches, and the games you went to, none of the home team scored?
it was Hanover Schalke. Hanover lost 3-0. Wolfsburg Stuttgart lost 3-0. Groningen lost 2-0, and it was
pretty, but that wasn't the focus of the weekend. Obviously, it was you guys all meeting up. Zootert, Palmer, you'd all obviously met before in Paris, meeting up with Snake. Was it a good weekend? Was it a good time though?
Yeah,
Certainly,
it was amazing.
Did you watch the MFL matches whilst you're out there as well?
2 or 3 maybe.
Yeah, we got a couple of them in the bar, I think, after the games because it was kick-off time. But
yeah,
I lost all of them. So
MFL.
So we've got the 4 of us in here today, and we're going to do a bench talk episode, which for those who are like, what the hell is a bench talk episode? Essentially an excuse for us to talk anything and everything about MFL, any aspect of it. Essentially a ramble. So you could argue we're gonna do a big MFL ramble here. We've got a number of topics that we're going to discuss later on after done the usual weekly update piece. So whether that be about the kit maker, the engine, the marketplace, etc. And I'll try and pick out a few sort of topical discussions. There's been some that people have been talking about Flint division and trial clubs and should there be overall caps. We can have a little bit of a roundhouse on that. So there's plenty for us to talk about what's gone on over the last week or so. But before we hit the weekly updates, just want to say a big thanks to everyone for their understanding and patience when it came to this week's episode or last week's episode. Obviously, there were technical problems. It wasn't released on the Monday, which kind of really annoyed me because we had 111 weeks of uploading on a Monday. So to lose that streak was pretty heartbreaking. But we still managed to get it uploaded, so we've not missed a week for 112 weeks, which is great. So big thank you to those who have already tuned into that. On Wednesday, we've got the pack drop. We won't be doing a quiz. We'll be doing the sort of like kit maker tournament. So MFL hopefully now would have selected their top 16 kits from the competition they did on Twitter, and then basically those of you who are going to be on the stream, we're going to get to vote in different polls who's got the best kits in a bracket style knockout tournament all the way to a finalist, and they're going to win some juicy prizes. So make sure you're there now before the drop starts for a lot of raffles and sort of prizes and juicy goodness. I'm going to reverse the order to what I introed you in. The weekly updates. How's your week at MFL been? Snake, I'm going to come to you first. How's this first full week of season 9 been for you? And then once you've said that, how would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Absolutely shit. Like, I think three of the 5 teams are on relegation spots. but at least the cup is going quite well. So I guess, yeah, let's see. Season can be turned around, but it's not looking good.
Exactly. No, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Although these seasons do feel like more of a sprint, not quite a marathon. For those who don't know how many clubs you own, you said you had 5 there.
Yeah.
The whereabouts are they in the MFL pyramid?
One is in gold, then one is in bronze, one is in iron, and 2 are in stone now. So.
And do you have any? Because obviously you got like the cobras, all the different sort of the snake branding. Are there any locations in there that are close to you?
Yeah, 3 are in Hanover now. The 1 in iron and the 2 in stone. So I'm trying to get those up, and then the gold one and bronze are just random locations that I just bought for cheap. And yeah.
Are you trying to keep all of the Hanover locations?
Yeah.
How many are there? So you got 3. Are there more than 3?
I think there's in total 6. 5 are like already found. 1 is still in the pack, but one of those 5 is like in a dead wallet, so it's no way to get it.
Okay.
It's like still a license and not even an established club. So
well,
that will be tough.
At least it's not a license that is active and could, potentially be the best Hanover license in the pyramid.
Yeah.
That's like me with my Norwich one. I want to be the best Norwich license, although a particular SUSC Blades is pretty adamant on trying to get his team promoted into bronze, which it probably looks like he might. Obviously, Zootert, you'll have some influence in that. So I'm asking for your helping hand here, not to let that be a possibility. But on a scale of 1 to 10, Snake, you said it's been, the first word you said was shit.
Yeah.
How are we gonna? What number is shit?
Maybe 3.
3 out of 10. That might be the lowest I think we've had so far.
Yeah,
that is pretty dire. But it's mid-season now. Will you look to strengthen up during that mid-season transfer window? Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Yes.
I think the gold club is getting relegated anyways, so I might just put some players down and put some legendaries in iron. Maybe. Let's see.
Okay, you're prepared to just piss some people off. I like it.
Yeah.
I've seen that been a strategy from some people. They know they're getting relegated. Just chuck those bigger players down to a lower division to help another squad out. So, but I'm sorry to hear you were 3 out of 10 this week. Maybe you've hit bottom of the season 9 and it can only go up from here. So, Palmer, how's your? I think last time we were on the pod, maybe the second time. You've been on 4 times now. You've gone from I had a couple of clubs to I had like 6, I had like 19. How many clubs are you on now, mate?
I am on a good question actually. I own 7, but then manage BFC Barcelona.
Yep.
So 7.5, 8. That I'm kind of managing. My season is probably about a 5 or a 6 out of 10, but I'd probably push that to a 6 or 7 now, hearing how bad the Snake season's going. So, a little boost in morale. Comparison's a thief of joy, but not in this situation. So I think it's a 5 or 6 because the few teams that I actually care about are not kind of where I wanted it to be. My Black Country Ballers, the Silver Club. Last season, we somehow overperformed. We were in first place going into the last game of the season. Just needed a draw to win the league. We lost against second place, which flipped around. So, I was then in second trying to... And again, it was a massive overachievement. I think I was projected kind of like 7th or 8th, on Big Bastise's site.
Mm-hmm.
So, there was that kind of disappointment that I couldn't get through the gold playoffs, and I've started this season just getting absolutely battered. I'm sat in 8th at the moment. I've won 2 out of 9 games. The league is just unbelievably stacked. I'm coming up against 92, 93 rated overalls in silver, and it's like,
what can you do about that? Yeah.
Shoot Taggart. That was my blessing on the first game of the season was him with his Park Street Maples failing to stay in goal and then ruining my experience. But on the flip side, the other one is obviously BFC Barcelona, and if you'd have asked me 2 days ago, it would have been a 10 out of 10, absolutely flying. But today and yesterday kind of fall from grace, shall we say. I lost 1-0 to Basel in the league, which dropped us out of first place down to second, and I lost against Ron John's Atletico Luchadores, who I was giving it stacks to in the
I did
WenDirk.
see that. I did see that. Yeah.
I was giving him stacks because I'd beaten him 3-0, then I beat him 2-0. And if I'd have won again today, it would have put me first in the cup. But now I'm second, and it's very, very tight in our Titans Cup group. So a lot to play for. But yeah, kind of a mixed result really on the clubs that I actually care about.
Because this isn't the first time you've managed a BFC team either. You originally had the Mustang BFC. It was called the Mustangs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that still called that team? Is that still called the Mustangs now? That team?
It got sold as far as I'm aware.
Because you took them to the Titans Cup.
Yeah, so I
semi or final was it?
To the final.
Was it the final? Yeah.
I lost against Scrub. I think Scrub came second in Diamond that league and won the cup. And it was the 4-3-3 of dreams. Was just absolutely cooking with that Plat side. But yeah, so I've had a few seasons break back in with Barcelona. And to be honest, it's probably a Diamond level team.
Yeah.
It's a strong Plat side. But it's just I'm kind of tripping myself up a little bit trying to go full strength in both the cup and the league. Falling short a little bit, but we'll get there. We've got the depth, we've got the rotations, we've just probably not got the manager. But we'll see where we go.
I guess the priority is to get promoted back into Diamond again with that team, right? So as much as you want to try and stack and go full strength into both league and cup, I think if you told everyone in the DAO, yeah, we might get, we might just make it out of the group, we might get to the quarters, but we'll get first and we'll get promoted. I think they probably will be okay with that. Is there a difference? But if you notice a difference between managing this strength platinum side in for the DAO compared to your other time as a manager?
Yeah, I think at the time I was managing Mustangs, I think kind of the power ranking was Barcelona was in Diamond, and then it was Dane with Manchester, and kind of me with the Mustangs as kind of third, and possibly Manchester and Mustangs kind of interchanged in terms of the players and the spread of who got what.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was a Plat team whose whole point was to maybe get playoffs and have a bit of a cup run. Whereas I think, and again, with BFC Manchester being in the same cup, we've got Joker or Joker. I think we're both sat there with our sides expecting to win the league, and there's obviously a few other teams around, and you can only have one first place. So it's going to be interesting, and we play each other actually in tomorrow's league game. So I suppose that will separate the men and the boys. We'll find out what happens there.
Yeah, because BFC have 3 clubs spread across Platinum, which is a big stake in it. And I guess if you wanted to have, I was just looking at sort of how both Plat leagues are right now. If you wanted to have 2 BFC in one league, you probably would have wanted it in the other one where you've already got like Dio's team in there. So if Dio was to come first, and there might be some awkward situation where a team in second or third can get auto promoted, or fourth, or however the clusterfuck was that happened about 4 or 5 seasons ago with all them. But yeah, to have 3 Plat teams is I guess it's a bit of a, I don't know, how did you find that with like squad building as well? I guess you have priority because you're BFC Barcelona, you've got all the best players. But how did it work then if you want to go? Is it Greco that is Buenos Aires? Yeah.
Yes,
how did it work with then Manchester and Buenos Aires? Was there a clear cascade of hierarchy there?
I think there was intentions of being a hierarchy, but as far as I'm aware, it kind of went, if you had that player the season before, you've got first priority, and it then kind of just came a bit of a first come first serve, and as always, there's a bit of reshuffling to be done. I know Snake, you sent over Zine kind of last minute over to Barcelona, so that dropped a player back down, Modesto back down to B sellers. So there's always going to be reshuffling somewhere. There was a player that I passed up on with not wanting to run centre mids, and that boosted Manchester, which then in turn helped Buenos Aires. So it's all fair and love and war. So I think the end of the day, we all want to win and we all want the teams to succeed. So it's no point overly stacking one team at the detriment of another. But building the rosters is never fun.
Yeah, I can imagine it's never fun with how that is and just how many big players are there and getting them all sorted out. So just remind me, what was your rating out of 10 then for your week?
I'll put myself as a 7 after hearing Snake's doing so bad.
So we've gone 3, 7. Zootert, how's your week been? Any improvement or somewhere in the middle of those two?
No, I think compared to these guys, I'm flying. I've got teams in first, second, and third, and one team that's kind of shitting the bed in ninth. But the other three teams are doing good. We got my iron team, which is the most important to keep blades out of bronze, doing very well. Got a 5-point gap there now, so that's very nice.
I love that.
Playing him right after the mid-season break, so
Ooh,
probably a nice opportunity to make it an 8-point gap and keep him out of the promotion race.
Exactly. If that does eventually become an 8-point gap, please just at him in the Discord and just,
I will,
because I've got him in a couple. I've got him tomorrow, or the time it gets released. I've got him in the league, and if I lose to, I'm just going to not be able to. I'm just going to like sort of log off from Discord for a bit. Because he tags me in every message. I love him, to be fair. We'll try and get him on the pod at some point, maybe with Rory. But yeah, so out of 10 for you?
Solid 8.
Solid 8.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much through in all of the cups as well. So
yeah, I was just looking at the Gloucester. You're second in the league, and you're through in the cup as well. I guess you've got the chance to go top of that group stage, but you need Dane's his team to lose and then you to win by a fair 2, 3, 4 goal margin. But will you use it as just a rotation match, or
that will be a full rotation match? Yeah. I don't care coming second off first or second on there, so
yeah,
whatever, just get me through and I'm happy.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I'll probably go for an 8 as well on my side. It looked pretty dire straits, really, when I did the pod 2 weeks ago. The Cup group stage has come out, and I'm in a bit of a predicament where the Wyverns have never really been strength outside of the strong 11, or the first 11, sorry. So I've got a really good starting 11, just when I've got to rotate an 84 cam to a 76, it doesn't quite hit the same when you've got an 8 overall difference. But we are now third in bronze, albeit still 5 points behind Blades, who is at the top there. We've won our last 5 league games. We had a 1 in the first 4, and then we won our last 5. I think I've got written down here, the Wyverns, they played 9 games this calendar week. We won 6, we drew 1, we lost 2, won the last 5 league games, and we're second in the group in the cup, which is kind of good, but also, I've got big Mr. K in there who knew I was running a 3-5-2, and I think he tried to hard counter it with a 4-2-4, which I kind of anticipated. So I don't know if this worked, but basically I knew that he would think I'm playing a 3-5-2-B. So I preset my tactics for a 4-2-3-1 and started friendlying as a 3-5-2-B, trying to bait him into thinking I'm playing a 3-5-2-B. He rocks up with a 4-2-4, which I'm pretty sure is a pretty decent tactic against a 3-5-2-B, just because of, straightforward 4 forwards versus 3 defenders, always a bloody nightmare. I think we drew the first game, ended up beating him 5-2 today. Although he does have to sort of sink his team down a bit to even play a 4-2-4. But, if I can get out of the group stage, 2,000 MFL each. So, I'll probably take it as an 8. So I'm an 8. Zootert, you said you were an 8 as well. Palmer, you said a 7, as long as it's a bit more than Snake. And unfortunately, Snake, you've ended up being... do you want to change your number? You're going to stick with a 3?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the 3.
You're going to stick with the 3?
Yeah.
Right. Right, let's come on to the dev updates then, because they're a pretty sizable one this time. First of all, Bastiste finally got announced as a team member, even though that was pretty well known, I think, across the community for a number of weeks. I think Bastiste told the French community, went on a stream with Matt maybe a couple of weeks ago, and then he said that I can tell people, and then 2 weeks later the MFL team released it to the rest of the community. But sort of some of the rewards for the the kit maker tournament. There's a giveaway on Twitter which happened, which somehow I managed to win one of the players, which is maybe a bit suspect. Albeit, I think it is it did say that the lowest name or the order of the names is the order of the overall. So I get like a 59 rated left back or something like that. So I said on Twitter, I'll just give it away, because I'm not going to keep it. So he's been obviously donating some of his players because he can't play anymore, which is a sort of question I asked to him. So, how are you going to feel about not playing as well? He's I think that's probably what makes him fit the role that he's in really well, because he's previously played for a number of, for 3 years. So he's going to understand the community sentiment around potential changes as well. So congrats to Bastista. We've said it many times. Custom kits, we'll come on to that. We'll touch on it more in depth later on, but I will ask you guys in a bit your initial thoughts on how that's been. They released custom kits this week. I believe it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I think they look great. They had a few bugs with them, but they've rectified them pretty quickly. The engine-wise, Bastiste and Quinton, it's not just Quinton now, Bastiste and Quinton have continued to improve goalkeeper behaviour with a focus on deflections. I think we've noticed that a few times this season, with a lot of deflections being shot comes in, it gets deflected almost at an angle which, without actually seeing it in 3D, you can't tell if that's a realistic angle it gets deflected at. But good to see their sort of goalkeeper behaviour seems to be one that crops up quite a few times. They've also progressed on the energy and experience systems, which will come into play once substitutions are enabled in match plans. So I guess that's one thing that needs to sort of be overhauled around about energy. That side, trial clubs, I mentioned last week that they identified sort of a problem, something that they've wasn't so great about the onboarding experience, but they've been improving that for new managers. They've added new tasks to the mission board, introduced more assistant-led tutorials, and they've implemented most of the logic to let trial clubs upgrade into full clubs, because I guess if that's not in full flow in a few weeks' time, then no one's going to be able to go the full distance and commit to buying a club. So they need that. And the update is planned for next week. And there's a bunch of improvements and bug fixes. Discord role stuff, all this small little glitchy stuff. And then also with the AWS outage earlier in the week, so they said a little bit about that. There's nothing in here, Snake, about a block button. No, this is your opportunity right now. A public cry, an announcement on the pod. What day are we at now, and what is it you want to be introduced to the game?
Yeah, I've given up on that. Like when we were in Amsterdam, Palmer and I chatted a bit about it, and he basically told me it looks like they don't want to introduce it, and yeah, since then I've given up on posting daily. So yeah,
I used to find it when you'd post like day 49 at 5 minutes to midnight your time, and then second it hits 1 minute past midnight in local time, you just post it again, and a lot of us would just look at that and go, "You just done it 6 minutes apart, mate." So I think you're trying to game the system a bit there. I think if anything, you need to say it here. Would you like a block button?
Yeah, I would love one.
Palmer, are you going to endorse that? Because realistically, without your backing and support, none of these suggestions go anywhere, mate.
I mean, do we add a block button into the game, or do we keep like Snake having a meltdown every other day? I think I know which one I prefer.
Which one's got more entertainment long term? One is a short term fix for just the one individual, but one is a long-term gain for the rest of the community.
Yeah, I mean, popcorn time. I unfortunately missed the handbags that went on in the Discord.
Oh yeah, I saw some as well. Yeah.
What's gone on? I just saw message deleted over and over again. So and again, our great friend the Snake was heavily involved in that.
That's a lie. No.
Keyboard bashing, keyboard bashing over there.
Do we want to reward this kind of unruly behaviour from the German, or do we just kind of say no? You don't get to throw your toys out the pram.
Are you saying we need Snake to change his behaviours in Discord before before the MFL team could acknowledge a block button as a potential addition?
I mean, we're just talking about the impossible here.
We need less spelling of fuck is FVCK, whatever it is you guys do to get around the moderation.
I when we were, I think, either in Germany or Amsterdam, I was putting a message into the Discord, and Snake went, "Oh no, you can't spell it like that." He was like, "That's on the ban list. You've got to change it to a different way."
He's got notes on his phone of just the equivalents, or maybe he's done like the auto correct, or when you type something in on your phone, it changes it to this. You can change that. He just got, if I type the word "fuck," it immediately changes it to this, so it knows that it's going to be fine in Discord. Zuma, would you be a fan of a block button? I think we need to have a roundhouse on this one now.
I would personally, but I just love to see all of the shit go down, so I'm saying no to it.
It's entertaining, yeah. That I can't. It was yesterday. Was it yesterday? It was the Discord meltdown. Was it Friday evening? I can't remember. I think it was yesterday. With, believe it or not, we're not going to name names. A couple of users getting a bit bitchy. I saw there were some receipts from Discord messages being thrown out there from like a year ago, which I found quite funny. Stuff about I'm a man who believes in karma and humbling, and then to put messages out there like he did. So, and there was penis size, bank accounts being mentioned, all this sort of stuff. The classic bragging rights and statements that happen when we don't see each other face to face. Well, actually, we do now. Would they make that statements on a pod? Probably not. And if they do, fair play. But I mean, let's come more about dev updates now. We'll come off the block button. Feel free, Snake, to just jump in at any time with your request for a block button throughout the podcast. I'll perfectly fine with that. Custom kits. Have all of you boys had a little play around with it? Zootert, I know you have. Palmer, I've seen for the Manchester, Barcelona. You've had a play around with it. Snake, you had a little play with it. Not until he gets a block button, he's not.
Yeah, I looked at it quickly before the recording, and yeah.
Just as long as you can imitate a Hanover kit, like the black and the red stripes, I think that's pretty easy to do in there. I think.
Yeah.
So, Parma Zootert, you've had a bit more time to look at it. Big fans of it since it's been released. I know Zootert, you said when we had it in the pod, you were looking forward to being able to use it. Is it sort of what you expect it to be?
I would like to see a bit more variety in the patterns you can use. I think even having something like a horizontal flip or something like that would already give you a lot more options. Like you only have the sash running from left to right now. To also have that running from right to left would be an easy change to it that could give you a lot more options.
Yeah. Palmer, your thoughts from your little play around with it when you've used it so far?
Yeah, I found the actual usability wasn't ideal. Like some of the sliders and stuff, which I put straight away in the ideas and suggestions. Can we not have the number as a text box? Like, why am I having to try and slide to 32.7? Just let me override and type it. And it was kind of jumpy and glitchy. And I agree with Zootert. I think I've seen a lot of people post their kits and stuff. And it's very much the same pattern styles over and over and over again, because people go, well, stripes and this, that, the other are boring. We'll go for the one fun thing, and you've then got one way to do it. So yeah, I think like Zootert says, to change it. And I think somebody else said, could we layer it? So can I have stripes and this to kind of make different things? And I saw somebody mention about having sponsorship in, whether it be the WenDirkCast or the Ramble or MFL Manager, or just kind of in-game user-created sites or podcasts or things. Like we've seen with the pitches, just on the Goal Rush.
Yeah.
Very easy to do, but it would be great if we can actually do it. The badge size. Let me just. I love the like the Ajax, where you've got it all centralized down the middle of the chest rather than split out. I think AS Roma have done kits similar. There's so much that you can do, and I think because it took so much time to come out, I was expecting this kit maker's going to be unbelievable, and it's kind of just like what I did when I was 10 on Paint.
Oh.
So I was a little bit like, I made two kits and was kind of like, is that it?
I think there's a lot you can do in it, but it's not obvious that you can do a lot from the start. Like
Yeah,
you know, there's below the patterns, there's the 3 different
can like
variations of patterns, and then like there's the blurriness, there's the
yeah,
the box, the
you make
circle,
the
whatever,
line.
and then you can then play around the slider to make that pattern change. I don't think it's obvious that you can. I guess most people they just see 12 different patterns. That's all you can do. Whereas actually there is quite a bit you can do, like the pinstripes. You can change the outline of those, but unless I will admit that when I'm looking at different colors, if I've got loads of patterns on, there's 5 different color options, and I'm there going like, one's called base, one's called pattern, one's called this. They're quite clearly labeled, but I
And you
still
always change
get
the wrong
confused.
one.
I still get confused, and sometimes I can't have 2 of the same color, which
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I think it's gone.
it's little things. It was little things for me where, and that's where I said about typing it to make the blurriness as well. But it was like, okay, I've got my badge. I want the colours to match my badge. Well, it doesn't do that for me. It might pick 2 colours that are similar to the badge, but then I've got to go external and go find what the hex code is, and
Yeah.
and it's like, why can't it say this is your badge and have a colour drop and things like this, which I don't believe would be too difficult to involve. So if we actually want to do it, or being able to copy and paste your kit. The other thing that I found really daft was the ability to actually share the kits. It's like kicked over to the far right hand side.
You got to take a screenshot.
So if you want to screenshot it with like your club name and like you can't have it centralized. And I saw somebody say the pop up where you've got the empty space, put the kits there and stuff, and it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's come out and it's been half done. So whether in a few months' time it will change, but I also feel that now it's like, they're probably moving on to the next thing, and this will be it for a long while. Which that's why I always get a negative kind of mindset with it.
I feel like it's a really great foundation to build upon this
Yeah,
kit maker. I think Dobby, he's always been focusing on a lot of the updates for it. I'm sure that he'll probably be continuing to look at it for a while. I've said that I'd like to see if we can create custom goalkeeper kits, for example, because it just defaults to like a blue and a pink or whatever sort of like the basic fluorescent colors are. I see your point about the club logo, but I can see from this iteration that it's easier to just by default pick your home and away colors that you've preset. Because there could be some people have a logo which is like 17 different colors, so which one's the majority? But I would like to see though, in terms of the shareability and being able to see it, is maybe expanding on the templates we have for different graphics, where it's a full-time result. Let's have one for like, oh, here's my brand new kit that I've made, and it has your club logo in the background. I think there's a lot of possibilities they can do with the social media template stuff, because you see a lot of that does get posted, whether it's the player of the match, the result. If we can have one for now saying, oh, here's my brand new kits that I've made, that'll be look a lot better than people screenshotting it. And if they're screenshotted on mobile or desktop, it looks different for when you're viewing it on socials, etc.
And that was my point. Obviously, when I created the BFC kits, I wanted to share it to the BFC guys. Say what you thought. So I was trying to figure out, right, how do I download a share thing or whatever to get it. And when you're going to run a competition of, let's see, your best kits, surely you put that out with a hit download and here's your pretty new kit of the season, yada yada yada. But again, it's just maybe me being a bit sour. That I think the kit design's great, but I also feel like we're on step 3 out of a possible 10. And then my worry is, do they actually spend the time to go and make it amazing, when at the end of the day it's just a kit maker on MFL, and a lot of people have probably made their kits and will never touch it again. So you've got to balance it between the two.
Yeah, I like to think it's not just sort of they've pushed it out and then that's going to be it. I believe they'll probably continue to expand on it and work on it. Hopefully Dobby will. I'd be disappointed if they didn't, because I think there's a lot that can be done there. And even after, it's not even been a week, it's been out yet, and they've fixed a few of the buggy things. I agree that on mobile, it's probably not the best experience. It's definitely more of a desktop sort of thing where you can see the kit whilst you're making the changes to it, and it just looks visually better as a desktop experience. But a bit like FM when it kicked out this week, the open base or whatever, the pre-order, etc. There's a few buggy issues with it, and they'll expand on it, improve on it. But yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of room they can do to improve it. But that's what these sort of discussions are there for because I know they'll listen, and if they can make a goalkeeper kit or they can add different patterns, they'll respond to this. So I think it's great what they've introduced so far. I think I just love the possibility with the sharing stuff. Yeah, exactly. I think you made a really good point there with the competition piece. You run a competition, but there's no actual real simple way to share it, apart from screenshotting it. And the best way to screenshot is probably when you're in the editor itself, because you get the nice fancy lighting, which when you rotate the kit, the back of it lights up more than the front of it, even though the light's coming from the front. But that's a different conversation in itself. Before we go on to the marketplace, Diamond League. Do either of you chaps have anything else you want to touch on, any of the dev stuff from this week? Cool. Sicko mode. Let's smash our way onto the Diamond League, and I'll share my screen so you guys can see this. Last time we were here, we had Kev and Sid, and Sid was I can't remember where he was in the league now, because we recorded it on the Friday. He was like second or third. We obviously couldn't release a pod on the Monday. He was begging me, Jimbo, please release it on the Wednesday, because I'm currently top of the league. And you asked me a question in the pods along the lines of, what would you do, Sid, if this time, next week you were on 15 points on top? And he'd be like, I love that. I think it'd be great. And lo and behold, he was. Ever since we've released the pod with him in, Sid has now lost the subsequent 3 games, and he's now 5th in the league. And his fierce competition and friend in the MFL Ramble, Mr. Bob Flynn, Orange Fly, has now stamped his authority in the Diamond League and is currently top 2 points above Meta Mercenaries. So just a quick rundown. The Soul Iron Pigs or Flying Pigs of Soul, I always get it mixed up, and I can't read Korean, so I can never remind myself just by looking at it. Anyway, are currently top. The Mercs are second, Bishoni Milano third, Jaeger Bonito London 4th, Los Galacticos 5th, GTA Ontario 6th, Naples Gold Feather MFC 7th and 8th, Dio's Amsterdam Lions in 9th, and then the relegation spots are Club Atletico Tango, which I think is a big shock. Big Wilbur in the streams earlier in the week was like, I'm having a stinker, as Cal Freezy would say if he was an MFL player. Sao Paulo 11th, and then we've got 12th being Hamburg Harmony. Do they want to chime in with how this last week has been, or what? Actually, first of all, who do you think? I'll go Zootert, Palmer, Snake. Who do you think will win Diamond League this season?
Have to bet back Meta again. There will be some changes of the engine in the mid-season to favor it in his way again, and he will come out on top again.
So when you're saying there's going to be changes mid-season, is that with or without your tinfoil hat on, as you say?
A big tinfoil hat.
Big tinfoil hat.
Tinfoil suit, even.
Palmer, are you a Mercs to win the league sort of person? Or?
This is the first time I've actually looked at Diamond this season. I think I'm just gonna back Bob. I mean, absolutely,
Bob.
I remember his first. I think he's been on more than once episode with you guys when he joined the game, and he was saying, he's here to win it. He's here to take part, and he's gonna go balls to the wall and go for it. And fair play, he's put his money where his mouth is. He's first, so I'll ride with him and hopefully he takes it down. If I see him in the Titans Cup, hopefully I absolutely smash him. Crack on with Diamond League, son, and hopefully you get it.
I love that. Snake, we always ask our guests who come off the first time, do they pay an interest to Diamond League? Do you at all, or are you not really too bothered about it?
Not really. I think the only games that I watch are probably on the streams, and that's about it. So
yeah. Fair enough. And in terms of who you think will win Diamond this season, are you gonna?
Yeah, I think I would do that on this one. I guess Meta will do it again.
So I think that might be a bit of bias towards the location of Munich there, being backing the fellow. Is that one? There must be a couple. Yeah, you got Hamburg in there as well. That's the second one of two.
Is that Hamburg? Are they actually competitive, or is that a farming?
So
I think that's like Big Wilbert's team, right?
So, to my understanding, it's Truss manages it, but it's being, I guess, player rolled, not bankrolled, being player rolled by Big Wilb. So you could almost say that Big Wilb has 2 teams in the Diamond relegation zone right now. Sorry, Big Will. You should laugh because you might be replacing him if it goes like this with your BFC Barcelona.
Saying that, no, if they stay up there, then and we get promoted, it gives us, a buffer for relegation if they're still in there doing crap.
I would be surprised. Teams like Tango, I'm a bit surprised about. I said on the streams earlier in the week, I banter the Tango side because they are a bit like Crystal Palace or Fulham, where they just finish like mid-table every season. I think I went through his previous standings in Diamond. I think last season they came third, but prior to that it was 6th, 7th, 8th, 7th, 6th, and then maybe like a rogue sort of like 10th in there. No, not 10th, like 9th. But it's a bit of a scary one for Big Will being in the relegation zone. Has he spread himself too thin with having that Hamburg Harmony team in there? We do not know. But all we can say at this point is maybe leading into the mid-season break, we could have a Diamond League that doesn't have Meta Mercenaries first. Which, we're going to have to ask the question again, what happens to the world if Meta Mercs don't win Diamond for how many seasons were in 9? They've won 8 out of 9. No, 7 out of 8. Sorry, 7 out of 8 Diamond Leagues. They surely go on and win their 8th one, right? But, well, we'll see. I hope Bob does win, though, because like you said, Palmer, when he came on the pod, he was like, I'm only here to win. Like, I don't, I'm not here to mess around. I don't want to be an extra number, a participant, so to speak. And during this off-season, he did sort of bolster heavily. He's got, is it Beckman, the 98 rated striker? I mean, it's probably no shock that both the 98 rated players in the game are currently sat on the two teams who are first and second in the league, Kovacs and Beckman. But, he's won his last 4 games against Bashoni Milano, who were third, against Sid. I think that was a first v second or a first v third game, Tango, and then Sao Paulo. So I'm looking forward to how Diamond finishes this season. Any other comments from anyone else?
I'm just looking at MFC Roma, and I think they are the Italian West Brom. They will never get relegated, and I'm absolutely here for it. Shout out to Fraj and his horrendous 5 at the back.
Oh yeah, five at the back shambles. I'm not having this. So MFL posted a tweet from when I was on a pod with Ryan about how I was asking him if 5 at the back's boring or not, and then I was like, yeah, it's really boring. And Ryan was like, yeah, it's really boring. And then he replied to the tweet saying like, sorry, I've gone to 5 at the back this season. I was like, you disappoint me. You'll never see me running a 5 at the back. One, because I just cannot bring myself round to go and purchase wing backs from the marketplace. There's something about it. I can't bring myself to run 5 at the back. Zootert, have you run it before?
I haven't, but I think I have to next season. I got two of my best players are wingbacks, so I'm trying not to do it, but I might have to.
Palmer, are you a wingback fan? Are you a 5 at the back fan?
I ran it once when I was doing that Roskilde Rovers free-to-play team for a few seasons, purely on the fact that my starter pack gave me 2 right wing-backs. And I hated myself and I couldn't sleep, so I had to give away the club. Because I felt dirty every time I got into bed. I don't know.
2 right.
Sleep themselves playing 5 at the back on MFL. Never.
It's horrible. Snake, I know you're a big 3 at the back fan, like myself. Please tell me you're not also a big 5 at the back fan as well.
Absolutely not, but I had to run it like a few games when I bought like 2 or 3 agencies 2 seasons ago, and the team, they were set up for 5-back, and then in mid-season I sold all players, and then the 5-back was gone, and then I was happy, but a few other ones were not so happy, but yeah.
And you soon realise that 5 at the back is dreadful and 3 at the back is the way to go.
Yeah.
3 at the back.
Absolutely.
3 at the back is just the most exciting formation because you're either going to get whacked like 5-0 and you question all of your decision making when it comes to anything MFL, or you beat someone who's like way better than you 3-0 and suddenly you think you're the best manager in the world. But that might just be the MFL way where you just, I have my tactics and sometimes I don't even, these 5 games I've won in a row in the league, I've had the same setup for all 5 of them. I'm not about this changing game by game stuff. Micromanagement, utter woke nonsense. If you ask me, just set and forget. That is the way. I'm not a tactical mastermind. Snake, would you call yourself a tactical mastermind?
No.
You just buy really pacey players
Yeah.
Yeah. That was your Cobra. Was it your Cobra team a couple of seasons ago? Was it your Pythons?
It's all teams, but yeah.
Just
Yeah, I
3-5-2
think
pace.
the lowest paced player on my team's like 70 probably. So yeah.
And then complain when a ball over the top, their 60 red striker can outpace them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then ask for a block button afterwards. For that manager who's just beat you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go to the marketplace. Actually, one final thing. I always mention how many trial clubs we've had. Since last week, we've had a 17% increase in trial clubs. We were at 1,614 last Thursday. And then, 9 days later, we're now at 1,895. So we're still seeing that slow increase even throughout the season, which I think is fairly promising, although we'll come on to it later about the consistency of those those trial clubs when it comes to playing throughout the season. But it's quite nice that they've shifted the Redemption Cup this year. They've gone for more like I forget the actual terminology for it now. The kickoff leagues, where once they get filled with new clubs, they just kick them off. Oh, God, I should have thought about that before I said it. They just start those leagues, or the MFL Yaks. Lucas, I know you're listening. Please, can you not have the Flint division above the Diamond League in the competitions page? Because it really does my OCD in. When I look at that, I should see the Diamond League at the top, not Flint division. I don't know how it's there, but it really... And if none of you guys have a clue what I'm talking about, click on the competitions page and look where Diamond League is on there. It's below Flint division, and it rattles me every time. I'm not the only one. Zootert, I know it gets you as well.
It does, yeah. OCD is tripping up.
Yeah. I don't mind the kickoff leagues being above it because they're sort of like new, need to be in the face of the new users. Don't mind them being there, but why is Flint division above Diamond? People might think that's the most prestigious division with 1,392 people playing in it, which we know it's not. I previously, with the market updates, I've told you how many players have been sold in different rarities. I discovered that today the sales Airtable hasn't been updating since Monday. So I cannot give you a splash of the week for this week, which is heartbreaking, unless a $80 sale of Nigel Khan being bought by Mr. Wobbles, is this week's splash of the week. It could be this week's splash of the week, but I don't think it is. I was tripping myself, but apparently the sales Airtable hasn't been updated for 5-6 days. Unfortunately, I cannot bring you that marketplace update, which we love to give. However, I think I can't go out without saying anything. So I went on to Alexis, MFL Assistant, and I wanted to look at what was the sale volume for this week and last week, which I don't really know why I'm saying this because it's a very weird figure to say without context around it. Obviously, last week was transfer window ending, season starting. There was $26,000, shook hands between managers last week. And currently this week, there's about 6,000, which is obviously quite a fair decrease, but that's because in mid-season, no one really buys players. I think that's safe to say. Although, before we move on, I do want to come to you, Snake. You did allude to it just a bit earlier. You had a little time where you were a bit of an agency buyer. How did that start? And are you still in the agency buying game?
No. I guess it started when the market was really active still, so you could easily sell players, and I guess then there were a few people messaging me if I wanted to buy some players of them, because I guess I was just generally buying a lot of players and selling a lot of players to upgrade my own teams. And then some of them started to ask me if I wanted to buy at 80% value of MFL Assistant and 75, 70. And then eventually, I guess I just started to say, yeah, I will buy at 60%.
Oh.
And they still said yes. And then, yeah, I guess it was some easy money to be made. And then I bought I think 7 or 8 agencies in season 7 and season 6, I believe. I'm not sure.
So you said the main motive was because, or the main reason was because of how easy it was to sell players back then.
Yeah.
So you're saying you've noticed that there's a lot. I think all of us noticed it's pretty hard to sell players these days. How much time did it take up buying and selling agencies? Was it a fairly quick process?
Yeah, I still have some players left over that I didn't manage to sell from like 2 seasons ago, but it is what it is. But basically, I just like took MFL assistant value and then put it in a spreadsheet. Basically, times it by 0.6, and then just put all the offers on floaty. So it was like maybe I think I could manage around 120 players in an hour. So that was
Wow.
decently fast. And then for listing them on the marketplace again, I usually just did MFL assistant price times 2 and then slowly decreasing it. The decreasing took some longer time, but I guess now with the update price feature, it got a little easier. But
Yeah.
I think that was the main time factor back then.
Yeah. And I guess the motive was because the marketplace was booming. You could easily sell players and sell them for good value as well. And you said right at the beginning that's something you don't do now because it's just too difficult to move those sort of players. And I will also say a big thank you to you because during that time you often gave players for the streams or the pack drop streams. So folks, I've got to say a big thank you in person to you, Snake, for that. I know a lot of fans loved the big player, the big wheel we did that time when we raffled the entries for them, and so a big thank you for those that you did. So without the agency buying, that would have never been possible. So no more marketplace updates until the sales Airtable gets fixed. But congrats to Mr. Wobbles for purchasing Nigel Khan for $80. For those who actually really want to know what this fake splash of the week was, it's a 70 rated centre back who's 23 years old, goes by his name of Nigel Khan. He's English, 23 years old centre back. Pace 65, shooting 29, passing 46, dribbling 61, defending 71, and physical 76. When I looked up this player, he was actually bought. It was sold for a profit. He was bought by a name that I just cannot pronounce because it's not even a name you can pronounce. For $45, and then 2 months later sold it for $80. So there is some money to be made. He has progressed by 6 since then, from a 64 to a 70. But yeah, let me come to you quickly before we move on, Palmer. This marketplace, we'll come on to a bit later on about etc. more in depth. But have you been purchasing much off the marketplace recently?
Nah, not a thing. not a thing, mate. Yeah.
I think that's all that needs to be said, really, isn't it?
I was going to say it's just I think the market's in the mud. I've said it for seasons, though. I think the club market's in the mud and the player market's in the mud. So I've got players I'd like to ship out to get some funds to buy some new players, but at the same time, I feel like I'd be selling them for massively under what they're potentially worth. So I'm just holding, and maybe we'll buy again one day. We'll see.
Make buying great again. Yeah, I feel like it's been pretty. If you're a seller, or make selling great again. Sorry, don't make buying great again. You can buy for good prices at these rates, but we always say it's a buyer's market right now, which I hate having to say that. It just seems so like saying it's a buyer's market, but it is. Zootert, have you been a buying man recently?
No, I think the last player I've bought was end of last season, so still somewhat recent, but no, nothing since then.
I have just tried to check the Twitter of MFL to see if they released the quantities for the pack drop coming up on Wednesday, but I've not seen that. And hopefully by the time this gets released on Monday, the 27th, there is actual confirmation on those figures. Because I know that the pre-season pack drop was the same as the season 8 mid-season. So I'll be interested to see if it should be anyway, the season 9 mid-season should be less than both the last 2 pack drops, which I hope it is. Because it needs to be less, quite frankly. So
Jeez.
before we... You right, mate?
I've just looked at my... the last actual purchase I made for a player was on the 18th of July.
18th of July.
That was the last time I was actually in the market. From a fellow Paris MFLer, Mini Me.
Yep.
At the picked up. So that was the last purchase I've made.
Do you know what? You've now made me think about who I. The last purchase I bought was just over a month ago. It was Lorenzo, who you know of, Zootert, your goalkeeper from 408 Source. But I think prior to that, I usually buy about like one player every 2 months. That was why I got the piss taken out of me for not noticing there's a price filter in the marketplace. Like generally, I don't use it enough to look at. I buy a player, I put the stats and the overall etc. that I want, and I just sort by low to high and see if there's any like deal I can be made there. I'm not putting in like, I've got a budget of 500 quid. I'm going to see what that gets me. But I got ripped into it for that, which is fair play. But yeah, what I wanted to quickly touch on, you did the IRL MFL. Palm, I'm going to start with you first. What's happening at Liverpool, mate? What is Slot doing, mate? Brentford, bogey team. Henderson at it again.
I think I'm going through a tunnel at the moment. I'm losing signal, mate.
Don't worry, mate. My team is second bottom in the championship, and the only team that's below us are one that just recently got docked 12 points for going to administration. So if it's worse for you, don't worry. It's worse, a lot worse for me.
It's honestly, it's just like it's obviously a new system under Slot, which he tried to implement last season. And with Wirtz in the 10, it's much more different. And obviously we've got new forwards, new kind of, players out wide. The defence, though, hasn't really changed. At the moment we're playing Conor Bradley and we sub on Robertson after about 20 minutes when Kirkes goes and gets a yellow card. And Mamad Vasheli, or whatever the Georgian's name is a decent keeper, but we just... Van Dijk's legs are gone. Kanate is a load of shite. Joe Gomez has no knees. Our midfield, Gravenberch is out, or Gravenbach. Zootert will tell me how to pronounce
Gravenberch.
Yeah.
Good luck doing that one.
Just cough halfway through. But they're obviously the easy excuses to make. When you look at the surface, because we've still got so many, quote unquote elite players where we shouldn't be getting absolutely turned over by a long throw from Brentford. But what I see it as is, if we're doing MFL IRL, I can put it to my thing. I've ran the same tactics for the past probably 10 seasons and I'm finally coming unstuck for it. Slot's had, his same play style for however long he's managed for. He's trying to implement it with these new guys and it's not working, and it's that stick or twist. Does he just double down with it and hope things change, or do we just continue to get battered? Because at the moment, the question's almost out the window already for the title race. It's kind of saying, can we even get top four? Because, I can't believe that Mark Gay not coming to us is this much of an issue. There's so much wrong with it. Wirtz is not there. Isak is, a sack of shite at most times. Ekatike is absolutely unreal.
I think I would proper rate him, I would proper rate Ekatike. Yeah, I think for a big man, he's got a bit of technical ability about him as well. He's not got a horrendous touch on him. He's got quite a nice linkage of play, which for a striker of his stature is quite hard to come by sometimes. I think one thing that I have been baffled by, which I think is just like Salah's inability to get involved in games now, and I wonder if that is a bit of pressure when knowing some of the bigger price tag players are coming in. Is he finding it a bit tougher? Is the system changed? Anything there?
I mean, like you say, Ekatike is almost like a mirror image of Gakpo. They're both 6 foot something, both good left foot, right foot, can play a pass, put a bit of spin on it. But with Salah changed a few seasons ago. He was always just the fast player in behind, and he's now actually plays with the ball at his feet. And I mean, I don't know whether you saw the goal that he scored the other day. Absolutely unreal. Brings it down with his left out, from over his head and right foot top corner. He's still got he's still an unbelievable player. But at the same time, with Liverpool, we shouldn't have to put all our eggs in one basket. No other team says, if our one player doesn't play, we're going to lose. But Liverpool seem to kind of die on the hill of Mo Salah. And yeah, Slot needs to get something better out of Wirtz and the midfield, because it's an absolute shit show to watch at the minute.
So what you're saying is...
Talk about losing.
Talk about who losing?
Hanover last week.
Yeah, so Snake, you're a diehard Hanover fan, right?
Yeah.
And they're current, for those who live under a rock or maybe don't follow the second Bundesliga. That's the second division in Germany that they're in. How long have Hanover been in there for?
Sometime, I think 7 years now.
Yeah,
6 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, the in terms of like a German stature of a club, they are one that should be like fan base wise, culture, the history. That's a team that should be in the first division in the Bundesliga. And you do follow them away as well, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Did you go to the game today?
Mostly. No, I didn't manage to get tickets. It was like 1 hour queue on the ticket website, and
a real fan would have waited the full hour, by the way. A full fan would have waited the full hour. That's how it...
No, I did, but like by the time...
Oh, just sold out. Okay.
Yeah.
You did go to an away a couple of weeks ago, though, didn't you?
Yeah. Like, I think it was a couple. I don't know which one you mean, but...
there was a Sunday. It was a Sunday, because I remember I tried to get you on the pod, and you were like, I maybe want to make it, but I might not be able to because...
yeah. That was in third.
Yeah.
We drew 2-2.
You're currently... Whereabouts are you in the league so far this season?
Fourth.
I think you're doing all right this season. I think you've got a decent team.
I think the start was like pretty great for the 4 wins, but after that could have been better. There was a few
if we're going to compare this to MFL, I feel like we can maybe compare like the second division of Germany to like the Platt division, where there's just a lot of clubs in there which are probably too big for Platt, too big for the second division in Germany. So there's only for your case, Palmer, there's only one spot that gets directly promoted. Then you've got basically just chance really when it comes to the playoffs. In the second division, you've got Schalke, Hanover. I'm just trying to think of other.
Kaiserslautern, Nürnberg.
Yeah, a lot of big teams up there, and obviously only 3 go up. Only 3 go up.
No, 2, and then the third is playoffs.
The playoffs, yeah. So even at the playoff system, even closely related to MFL, you've got a playoff system.
Yeah. But it's different. It's just like the last game of the third place playoffs is basically what we have.
Yeah.
So it's like third of the second division versus 16th of the first division.
Yeah, they played. Yeah. So, did you fancy your chances this season, though?
Yeah, I think we're still in it. It's like 4 points to first to Schalke, so I guess it's everything on the line.
Yeah, like I said, I've got a couple of cards on the other fantasy game that I have a little bit of an interest in Hanover as a result of that.
Yeah, I think like now since we won the derby, I guess it can be like a bit of momentum, and then a few easy fixtures now, so I guess
I'll hold you to that. When they perform badly, I will hold you to that. I'll pop a new message.
Yeah.
What is our left centre back doing in that back 3, lad? Like what, what's Tomiak doing? I'll start getting really into it.
Yeah, when he misses the penalty again.
Yeah. Zootert, remind me which team you support against.
Ajax.
And they won 3-2 this weekend, didn't they?
They did, but the season has been absolute shite.
Are the hankies out for Heitinga already?
Yeah,
are you a Heitinga out, man?
He can go. He was, of course, Slot's assistant last year, and I think they both took the same form into the league this year. And the football just doesn't look like anything. The tactics don't work. Weird substitutions all around.
Why do clubs have this reliance on Wout Weghorst for some reason? Like, I just think he's absolutely useless. Why do clubs insist on him being a good player? Like, he's I don't know how old he is now. He must be getting on a bit.
Yeah, I think he's 34.
So basically, Heitinga, if he doesn't want to be a manager, he could just be a centre forward for Ajax at this rate. He might have slightly more legs and height than Wout Weghorst, but you can't. I mean, they had an awful performance midweek against Chelsea.
Yeah, and I think the Chelsea fans put it well that he's just a shit Andy Carroll.
Yeah. They just missed Jordan Henderson, mate. That's what it is.
Did you see Jamie Vardy over the weekend?
He did a backflip
first, didn't he? Did he?
Yeah. A goal celebration backflip he did.
I saw he got his first goal, didn't he?
I missed the backflip. Fair play.
Actually, one final thing. I'd love to see this in MFL. Palmer, do you know the name if I say Jamie Curiton?
No.
No, so he is, I believe, the first footballer to score in all 10 divisions of the English pyramid, or like the top 10 divisions. He recently scored in like the 10th division today or the weekend. So I was wondering, are there any players out there who have scored in every division of MFL? Probably not, and I hope not, because if you've scored in Diamond, God bless the poor souls they've scored against in the Flint division. But I wonder if there'll ever be a player who maybe progresses crazy, not in dev jail, and goes up through the division and scores in every step of the way. So I thought that was a little shout out to Jamie Curaton, because he's extra Norwich. I have to get in there as well.
I was gonna say, yeah, 1993 made his that fucking hell.
He's a proper, like, been there, done that. And he's got his goal he scored at the weekend was gets sent through, ball over the top, and just chips a keeper from like 20 yards. Proper nice goal. But yeah, he's had a hell of a career. But maybe we'll see some, journeyman from 10th to, from Flint to Diamond. But enough of that shambles. Let's get on to bench talk, where we're going to talk about lots of different topics. I've said to the guys, I've set them a few topics I like to talk about, but I've also said if you want to talk about anything else you're passionate about, you want to ramble about, feel free to. Snake, I'm sure when I come to you, Snake, it will be like block button, please. Is that just going to be the only thing that you could talk about with endorsements from Palmer, of course. I want to touch on the kit maker first. I'm probably going to skip over that because we did actually ramble on it for quite a bit. But is there any other final bit people want to talk about the kit maker in terms of what's not been said already? Or is everyone happy with Palmer's critique of its current standpoint? What more patterns, better customization in terms of, or functionality in terms of the sliders, that sort of thing. Goalkeeper kits, better sharing. I think that's probably a good way to summarize those things. Snake, anything from your 5 minutes when you looked at the kit maker prior to the episode?
It looked all right, I guess.
Oh, so there we go. It looked all right. In Germany, that's seen as a positive comment, I think.
Yeah. He's trying to get in Yax's good books with that. He messaged me saying it's a load of shit.
I'm surprised he's not got like a sign up saying like when block button, just so when he's not speaking, you can still get the message across. Right. I always like to talk about this every season. The engine, how it changes every season. We're now nearly at the mid-season point. Zootert on a high, what do I think of? High level. How have you found this season's engine? If that's even a viable question to ask people, is that how are you feeling about the engine? It's basically like how have your results been, essentially, but how have you felt the engine's been to you this season?
Yeah, my results have been good. I don't know in how much it relates to the engine because I'm just running my tactic from last season again, mostly over all my 4 teams, but all in different formations, and it seems to do quite well across all teams except one, which is still running my goal rush tactic. So.
Still running a goal rush tactic?
I just thought I'd give it a go, and it's in 9, so that isn't going too well.
Have they at least scored more than they've conceded, though?
Let me have a quick look.
Because I don't mind them being 9th if they've scored more. At least that shows that your goal rush tactic had some sort of sense to it, and it wasn't.
Nah, scored 11, conceded 15.
Ooh. Yeah, that's not looking good. Have you noticed changes from last season compared to this season with the engine? I guess in the dev updates they mentioned things like the goalkeeper behavior. Is that something you've noticed?
No, I do still see quite a bit of teleporting goalkeepers here and there. Don't think
from the free kicks,
is fixed yet. So that's a topic for next season.
Yeah. So if you had to put I always ask, I said this in the Twitch chats before, like a number on this season's engine, like on a scale of 1 to 10 so far for you, I'm guessing you were going to say 7, aren't you?
Yeah, just an easy 7. My results have been good, so I'm happy to give it a 7.
What's been your favorite engine so far this season? Oh, this season? Sorry, this sorry, not this season. Sorry. What's been your favorite engine so far since season 1?
I wouldn't know. No, whenever a season is gone, it just gets erased from my memory. So
probably the easiest question is what's the worst engine? Or I think a lot of people say like season 7 was quite a nice engine, apart from the long shots. But season 8 had its little goalkeeping hokey cokey in and out. Not sure what they're doing when it comes to one-on-ones, but from what you're saying here, there's nothing sort of like groundbreaking that ruins your enjoyment of the match experience.
No, certainly not. No.
Apart from when your team loses,
and then it's always blame the engine.
Exactly. Tinfoil hats on, blame the engine. Parma, obviously, you've got clubs kind of throughout a bit of the pyramid now. Where you've got some in the upper divisions, some in the lower divisions. How's your experience been with the engine this season?
I'll be totally honest. I probably watched 3 games across the last 4 seasons. I got to a point where I had a fair handful of clubs and would basically just go through and skip at just before halftime, just after full time, refresh the page, what's the score. Sometimes I'd see the goals scored, sometimes I wouldn't, but yeah, this season I've actually watched all of the BFC games.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say I've done the same for any of my other clubs. It's a weird one because obviously, so I'm watching a game with players who are 90 to 95 overall. So, they should be the quote unquote better players without, massive blunders and things like this. And the way in which I often watch goals go in is just get it wide and shoot through the goalkeeper. The near post OP, it's like an early FIFA, where you smash it at the near post and it would score. So, it's either that, but then it's also I find quite a lot is very bad decision making from the players. The game I had yesterday against Basel, I had 2 separate occasions where I had a 2v1, ball was slightly out wide, play the pass across goal, it's an easy tap in, you've got half the empty goal, but instead they just smash it wide, and it's like, you can tell them to cross more, you can tell them to take less long shots, and they just absolutely shank it wide. So, that's life at the end of the day. I think it is good that players do make these things, but I'd like to see more in depth. I'm going to hit at it with a suggestions kind of angle.
The light bulb, the Parma light bulb,
Well, probably about 3 days ago was the first time I've ever looked at the match plans.
Mm-hmm.
Never I found where it was before, never cared for it. It was I think I was playing, I don't even know the name, Manjibu or something. The bottom of Plat, basically just a punching bag.
Nice.
And you only got to look at the league table to realise that. So my thought was we're going to go 2-0 up quite early on. If we do, I want to put the hammer down and kind of get everybody forwards. Now, I've got certain attacking positions in that where they might be, say, I don't know, a cam might be on more defensive or a winger might be on more attacking or something like that as an individual instruction. Now, if I want to go and make a match plan, I do the team instruction. But their individual instruction, as far as I know, is still going to outweigh the new team instruction. So it's like, I can't do anything to go and say, my fullbacks who I've got more defensive at the kickoff match plan, I want them to go more attacking. They're still going to have more defensive on the team instruction. Why can I not change that? So, these are the kind of the little things that I look not on the actual engine and how it plays, but how we can play as a manager. And if the new football manager's just been released, a lot of unhappy customers from what I can see, and across Twitter maybe unruly. These are the kind of things that if we are going to get people coming over from a football manager to do a trial club, they're going to be wanting to say, right,
yeah,
I'm 1-0 down 50th minute against, somebody who's lower than me in the league. Why can I not put my fullbacks onto more attacking? It seems quite simple, but those are the little things I just to see. Actually, if we're going to go down the road of being able to do in-game changes, preset in-game changes, why are we limited to basically go a bit wider, go a bit higher line? It's not really a change at all, I don't think.
Yeah, I feel like they're the natural progressions as to where the match plan will go to, but I do agree that it feels like you're limited by what you can do with it. Can I make myself wider, deeper, more compact, more more attacking for the players who are on used team instruction, for example, and not being overwritten by that. Maybe that comes in when the pre the match plan substitutions come into effect, because maybe I can imagine a lot of people getting a bit pissy about you sub a player in and suddenly does he inherit the current players? What does a substituted player's individual instructions look like?
Of course.
How does that work? You wouldn't want a centre back who's really quick, not that tall, who's now got a yellow card. You're going to sub him off. You don't want a 6'7" slow coach suddenly playing a more triggering the press with him. You don't want a slow
Exactly.
coach playing like
And
that.
it's little things. So in one of the teams I've got, we've got two cams. One of the cam has decent shooting. One of them should never take a shot in his life. Now, if I want to have him take less long shots, but then I'm going to sub in the new cam for fresh legs, I don't want a cam that gets subbed on in the high 80 shootings being told to take less long shots when I'm chasing a win.
Mm.
And these are the kind of things that I'd love, and I said it to the guys in Paris, I'd love to actually see a roadmap of what do they plan with these changes, because we throw it back to the kit suggestions, and it's easy to kind of shoot down the kit thing, which a lot of people did. But if they were to say, right, here's the kit launch, and this is what we have planned,
Yep.
X, Y, Z, people go, fucking hell, that's brilliant. I love what we've got. Can't wait for next thing. But instead, you kind of look at what you have and go, is this it? So like you say, when substitutes are coming, as we've been told, I'd love to just have a message saying, this is what we've got planned with the substitutions, and let the community be happy with it or be unhappy with it. Because if the community's unhappy with what they plan, well, don't go and fucking implement it. Change your course and adapt to what people actually want to have involved. And this is where I kind of get frustrated, that I find like sometimes it's 2 steps forwards and 1 step back, that they go and implement a new thing, read the community, and then backtrack to go and not fix but alter to then continue forward. And
It's a bit of that communicating like the expectations to what the community should expect for when it comes to it. Like, oh, here's going to be the next update for the match plan. This is what we're going to be doing. It won't be any more, any less, but this is what you can expect when it first comes out. So not so someone goes experience it thinking it's all this, and then their expectations let down. But if it had just been communicated, oh, we're not going to be able to do substitution, not be doing individual instructions, but they say you're not going to be able to do individual instructions, but the next iteration of it will be included. Then it calms down that sort of feud.
If you look as a new user, right, I've just got my trial cup, I want to make my kits. Oh, I'm limited to what I can do. I'm going to go now do my match instructions. Oh, I'm limited to what I can do. But if they, because again, we're live, we're in the we're what 9 to 10 seasons deep after however many 10 beta seasons. If you're a new user stepping into the game, you see something, you're probably going to assume it's there or thereabouts complete. But if we've just got a bit more information, but again, maybe that's just me being bitchy, but that's what I like being on these podcasts for, so I can hi Yaks, if you're listening.
I can see the bit with the roadmap. I can see both sides to it, because I remember I was speaking to Matt about this before. I can see the side of it has a potential as a small development team to put too much pressure on them to deliver particular functionality with MFL within a particular amount of time. But if it is, we're not going to be working on this until this is done, or I like to get an example of club delegation, something which sounded like it was pretty close last year, got put on the back burner. Don't remember that really being communicated, it's been put on the back burner before, and then we find out sort of maybe like 2 months ago that it's been sort of reprioritized. But now it's been reprioritized. People's expectations are, oh, when's club delegation coming? If it's just said out like it's not coming till Christmas, it's not coming till this, and I understand it puts a deadline, which therefore puts pressure on someone to deliver that. But I think there has to be a little bit of setting expectations and communicating, because fundamentally the communication is key. And I think for the most part, with transparency, dev updates, etc., they do an amazing job of that. But I think maybe just like the next level of this is what we're going to be working on for the next couple of months. I know things chop and change, though.
Yeah, and I think the dev updates are good for a historical kind of recap on this is what we've done, in the past week, past month. I'm not saying, right, you should sit down and tell us on this date, on whatever the 15th of January, what are you going to release? But if you say this is what we have planned, we will update you more in February. Great, can't wait. Because in February, it could just be, it's going to be another 6 months. That's fine. My thing is always, and I remember when the new photorealism players dropped, the people that were there at the meetup it was amazing, because obviously we were there in person, we saw it live, and it was like, this is brilliant. And everybody else was kind of like, right, there's been this massive build up, and kind of, you know, it's level one, the photorealism. There's more to build on it, and people kind of struggled with it. And I think we just see it time and time again. And a lot of the kind of things I ever see when I read dev updates is it's always very 50-50 on, is it a positive, is it a negative? And I often find myself being able to put my, you know, bang in the middle. I can see both sides of it.
On the fence, as we like to say. Sitting on the
I
fence.
didn't take your little...
Take my pedestal. Well, no, the sofa's quite comfy. There's more than just one seat on there. You know, I've upgraded the seating area now.
So long,
Yeah.
you've done some renovation.
Although I found out that since the process of getting my first place, that sofas are fucking expensive. So I'll be a second-hand sofa on the fence. I'm sorry, guys. It's not a brand new sofa from DFS.
Marketplace will be your best friend.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has been second-hand. We're going to write a tangent here, and I won't stay on it for long. But we've got a lot of stuff second-hand. But I think sofas are one thing we're kind of keen to try and get relatively newish, because you just don't know the history of that sofa, you know. And having something, you know, new for that piece of furniture is probably the best.
Stained.
No, exactly, and yeah, far from it. Snake, we had when messaging you three lads, I was like, I'll talk about the engine. Your response was, I don't ever fucking watch games. So you're in the same boat as Palmer. So I guess, how have you felt the engine has been from the games that you've not watched? And or maybe talk about like previous engines and how you felt with them, or just your overall thoughts about the match experience for you.
Yeah, I guess the only games I ever watched was on the streams anyways. And now a bit of less time in my personal life, so now I can't even tune into the streams, I guess. And then
sad, man, we miss you.
It's basically 0 games. And yeah, I guess, yeah, in past seasons there were some improvements I liked, but I guess it's always the same issues with goalkeepers, and then they say they improve the goalkeeper behavior, but yeah,
So you're
to me,
you're firmly in the blame the engine.
no,
camp.
I guess
Blame the manager.
No, yeah, I guess it's a bit of both, because like now I don't have that much time, and then obviously I will do worse, I guess, and especially since I didn't have, like, for the past 3 seasons I didn't do any preseason testing, and it's just basically like do my rotations every day, and then that's about it. And I guess like check for progression and then get disappointed because there's nothing there. But yeah, in terms of the engine, I think there's some improvements like that's been done, but also I can't really like say too much on this engine because I've also not even done any match plans, so I guess it would be a bit wrong for me to.
Do you keep you said you keep similar setups? Is that throughout most seasons? So a lot of what you ran for season 9 was season 8. Was it the same for season 8? Was it season 7?
I think like I joined in season 3. I think that's when I did like most like the teams in like different setups, and then I think from season 4 onwards, all my teams have just been 3-5-2, and yeah, same setup every season basically.
Who'd you captain?
Depends. That's like I think the only thing that I changed.
Yeah.
Based on if the team is strong, then I guess, or if the goalkeeper is strong, then I could captain the weaker striker to like get more goals, I guess. And then if I'm struggling on defense, then it's a goalkeeper captain. I'm also I firmly believe in team goalkeeper captain instead of like defender, because I have a little Discord with some friends that I got to know from the other game like 3 years ago, basically, that also introduced me into the MFL, and we had some discussions if it's team goalkeeper or team center back, and yeah.
Is there anything you said, like, you know, like a lack of time for watching matches and maybe not wanting to watch them. What is there anything that you would like to see that could be done to maybe make you want to watch them? Or is it just that you just don't have time?
I guess like right now it's mainly just I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
But I guess if I had the time, I think smarter decision making, what Palmer said before, would be like the main thing that I guess that would make the games a lot more enjoyable to watch.
Because I feel like you've been quite unfortunate with, say, like goalkeeper behaviours where you've served us a few games. Like you'll be like, right,
Yeah.
new season, let's get started. First goal you concede, right, my goalkeeper's just chucked into his own net. Not quite on that,
I think,
not that example, but goalkeeper's palmed into his own net. Or
I think it was season 7, right, or season 6. I don't remember. But basically, I think it was my first.
I think it was
first
season 7.
silver
I
season.
think it was season 7.
Yeah,
maybe.
my first silver season, basically. And yeah, my goalkeeper, it was like, I think an 87 overall, which was like very good for silver back then. And I think now it's pretty shit, but yeah, back then it was like the best goalkeeper in silver, basically, more or less. And he was on like end of the season. I think the average goalkeeper had like 60, 65, 70% saves, and my goalkeeper had like 40. So yeah, it was a shit show.
Skill issue, mate. I think that's a skill issue.
Yeah, I guess.
I think need the block button so you can block that goalkeeper from ever being part of your team again.
Don't give him a new contract.
So to summarize what you've just said, they're a little bit better on sort of like the player behaviors, and it's more intelligent decision making there. Could be a potential way for you to get back into watching some of the matches again. But also, I think for a lot of us as well, it just depends on time as well. Like sometimes Friday evening or whenever, weekend evening, I'm not always got the time to watch the matches. But
see that's something as well. I Snake showed me that you can, because I've like I said, I would have to go in and watch replay to see the score. I didn't really just reveal it, so you can just go, what's the score? But then I was like, well, actually, I only want to reveal the score for some of my games. I actually want to go in and skip watch the others, but again, blanket rule. So, Yaks, if you're listening, let me hide and reveal via club level rather than agency level, because I'd love to be able to go and watch the replay back of a few clubs, but the others just see the score, because who has time to watch, a bloody Spark club that you don't care about?
I guess is it too much to just click on it and just tap to the end, or just like watch for 5 seconds then just hit refresh and then it?
That's what I've been doing for the last few seasons, is going through, skip a bit, then hit refresh and load.
I can see with the amount of teams it can get quite tedious.
But that's what I mean. I don't even care to do that on some. Throughout a lot of seasons, it would just be yellow watch replay, painted down my screen. So, but again, it's like you can win on one side by cutting the middleman and just seeing the result. But for other clubs, you want to have the enjoyment of watching through. And how do I balance that?
Yeah, just to add on that, something I'd like to see as well, which I know there's ways around it, and I do the way around it, but just sort of like blurring or doing something to the league table from a club level. I've always, since like for last year, always view my replays through my HQ to avoid the table spoiler. But there used to be times before I knew that I'd literally load up on my phone, just have my screen covered like this. So I just have to cover it, because you like, I get to watch a game now. Oh, no, I don't, because I now know that I've lost, and because I'm out, because I'm in the relegation zone now, and I wasn't 24 hours ago. I'd love to see from a club level, either just like a blurriness of the league table, or something that basically says until you watch your game, it's not going to get revealed.
Have you ever had that with the progression? The window where you get the top 5 players. I've had it before where I'm like, why is he in there? And then I've gone into HQ, looked to progression. I'm like, he's gone +1. It's like, it's taken the enjoyment almost out of it. I'm like, I'd love to be able to pick the top 5 players that you see in that little preview,
like a showcase sort of thing.
Yeah, because it could be a case that you've got a 54 rated who's gone +15, and you're like, right, I want to see you every, quick scan, but instead you just get, numerical order of the ID top overall.
I think that's quite cool, actually. I've not heard that, as in like just being able to pick those 5 players or however many players it is and what device. For that reason, I have on my phone, I have a like a home screen button which goes straight to my players. So I skip that little HQ bit. I just go straight in. But what'd you say?
It's a bit sad that.
What, that I just skip one step that you do? I'm not having that whatsoever. I'm not having that. You want to showcase your 54 rated player, and apparently me skipping one step to make it more convenient for me to watch progression is me being sad. No, I'm not having that, Palmer.
It's sad that you've gone out your way to create a shortcut for it.
It takes 5 seconds, mate. It takes 5 seconds.
Have you also got a shortcut so you can see the price filter on the marketplace?
Fuck you. Right. That's good. Zootert, I'll come back to you quickly, Zootert. Palmer said a lot there, a little rambling about the engine. Do you agree with some of his things he said there? Anything you want to add to it? Fair enough. And I also hope our listeners do the same thing. We briefly talked earlier about the marketplace and how the lack of buying from all of us.
I don't listen to half what he says anyway. So
part of the market which has taken a little bit of a tanking, so to speak, and I think Palmer, you mentioned it's the club side to it. Is that something we think that club price, as it currently is just happens for the next 3-4 seasons? Is that just the new expectation that we all need to adjust to for club prices? Is that the state it's in?
I think. I mean, I said it for seasons, maybe 5+ seasons. They should have stopped the club promo for existing users a long time ago, because what they're obviously doing, as far as I'm aware, from I think it was an episode stream that Mathurin was on with yourself and Calva, or maybe just yourself, where he said kind of the player pool is based on X amount of players per club.
Yeah.
And whilst they were just pumping out club promos, every person that purchased a club promo then required X amount more players to be produced to keep that metric in line. But actually,
a lot of them didn't need the players because they already had the players or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like it then is got to a point where people have left the game. People like say myself, time wise, have cut down the amount of clubs they've got. Whatever reason where people have gone, I don't want this club anymore. Maybe it was a case that they were using these clubs as farming clubs and the overall restrictions have gone too high, so it's not worthwhile, so they're offloading. And now you've got all these empty clubs and you've got all these players with no club to go to, and we can't marry it up. Now, obviously, we can wait 5 to 10 seasons and the players will retire and it's happy, all fun and games. Clubs are never going to retire. And we just sat with this mass of clubs, and if the player base was to drop by 10%, that club value will go even smaller. I don't understand how they'll ever be able to fix the club valuation now, based on the fact they've pumped it too much.
I feel like club valuations are in a real sticky place right now, where there's these, like, historically, pre-Stone being introduced, like when we had 6 divisions, I remember I sold a silver license for like $40 or like $60, but that's irrelevant now. That's prehistoric MFL compared to now. I think the prices of clubs is in a real sticky state where you've got, I think someone picked up an iron license for like $60 the other day, which I think is a crazy price, albeit it might have had like a bunch of players in it already and they weren't great, etc. But I think I'm not sure in the short term what can be done about that. I don't think there is anything that can be done about it, which doesn't have like a knock-on effect on like players. You could like increase the prize pool across divisions, which all that would do is have an increase in supply of players from that season onwards because more rewards will be redeemed. So I think it's a quite tricky situation.
I genuinely do not think we ever see the club marketplace recover, because, like I say, the player marketplace will be self-governing through retirements, etc. Inactivities, you kind of disappear, which then progression, which helps keep the overalls of players down. It's self-governing. A club will drop to Flint and it will just forever be in Flint. There's literally nothing that we can do, which then gets to the point where as a new user, if you're pushed to go to the marketplace to buy your new club pack, because you now going to have an MFL cost about changing your team name and badge and logo, and there's going to be costs to buying a club and changing it. So you're pushed towards spending $79 on a new club pack. We're just constantly adding to the problem. Like, the only thing I could ever see them that would fix it would be to completely stop brand new club licenses being bought and only the existing clubs being in circulation, which I don't think it's right, but they absolutely messed up by doing the promo pack for too long. And I mean, that was something I've been vocal about for a long time.
Yeah. It's been like this season was the first season that hadn't done it because trial clubs were introduced, but prior to that it was like 6-7 seasons in a row. I'd always said it was a Friday before rollover day was always promo day.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of people would like buy it, sell the kickoff pack, and then like I know a couple of times, Palmer, you've given away the club pack. I think for 3 seasons in a row in the preseason drop, I'd always do the same from WenDirk point of view. I think that, the easy fix is just demand. The more demand there is, and that will drive up price. But I mean, a good point you raised earlier about the fees for branding, etc. I completely forgot about that because it wasn't in dev updates; it was in an announcement. But there is going to be a fees and pricing update for clubs. So just a quick one. For this season, everything is free. So that comes to creating and changing kits a limited amount of times, rebranding your club as much as you want. There will be no cost to that. Starting season 10, kit creation and changes will cost you MFL. So if you want to have a good kit, get it done now. Snake, I'm looking at you. Don't come changing it next season, mate, and argue why you got to change it for a cost. Because
I have 500,000 MFL, so I guess
exactly.
I will be fine.
What's the information on that, Jimbo? Does it give us actual breakdown?
So no, so there's no prices yet. I imagine it will scale with the pyramid. That's the only thing I can imagine it will be. And I think we can probably all be in agreement that will be how it will. But I don't know. Will it be an amount which puts you off wanting to do it? But I haven't got a clue.
Just thinking out loud back on that initial point, if they were to stop club packs, like see you later, new players go to the marketplace, would it make sense for Flint clubs to be free, completely free, rebrand everything in a Flint club, and then as it goes up, cost more and more and more? So a Diamond club might cost, I don't know, 2,000 MFL, but a Flint club is completely free. So you could go and buy a second-owned club, rebrand it, new kits, new whatever, and kind of just try and keep circulation.
So you're saying that the price of a Flint club should be free?
Like, if I'm just thinking of a fix in terms of how do you regain some stability in terms of club valuation, and my thought is, if you were to have it that a Flint club is now a first owned club, everything's free for rebranding. So if you enter the game, you can buy a Flint club for $40, rebrand that for completely free, and then carry on playing. Yes, you might have some club history, but sorry, with 10 seasons in, you don't get a clean slate anymore. And then obviously as you go up, so if you wanted to come in and buy a stone club, it's going to have a cost to it, which new users get MFL anyway through completing certain tasks and rewards, so you could always spend that on that if you wanted. That's my only thought, because again, if you open I just feel that with the door being open at the moment for club packs, when I came into the game, I could buy a club pack and sell it for like a $10 loss. If you're a new user now buying that, you've lost half your money straight out.
Is there a bit of hope where the amount of, I'm going to slow transition to trial clubs in Flint Div here. Is there a hope that the amount of trial clubs we have, say 1,800 we've got now, I don't know how many of them will be in their first full season, because those who have a trial club now, their full season of trial doesn't kick in until season 10 now. But for those, say 1,400 or so, 1,100 or so, I think it's only about 600 that took part in the league. So, we have 1,400 trial clubs that are created prior to season 9, but only 600 or so actually went into Flint, because you can see by the numbers that Flint's increased by, for example. Is there a hope that for those that don't buy a club pack and upgrade to that commitment, they do it via the secondary marketplace, which in turn boosts it up a bit? Is that where maybe some of that demand could come from? But we won't know what that looks like for X amount,
Right.
till next season or so on and so forth. That could be something that maybe we come and reconvene in 6 weeks' time and we go, actually, a little bit is. I don't know what the floor of the marketplace is now for clubs.
Like 45, I think.
45, yeah.
50. Yeah. I think it's a bit of an issue. Like, you want the new users to buy a club pack or like transition your trial club to a real club, and you want them to pay 80 euros or dollars. But at the same time, they could go on the marketplace and like buy a club for 45, whatever. So I think the real problem is they need to align the prices more. I think they should have done it some time ago.
Yeah.
Maybe when Spark released, or even Ice,
Matt,
where they should have like reduced the price for a new club pack from $80 to like 70, 60, whatever. Because I think $40 for a Flint club now, it's a fair price because the rewards are so little, and I don't know, it takes like maybe 50 seasons or whatever to like regain the $80 that you paid in rewards. So
yeah, I think Matt's always been pretty set in stone with maintaining that price for not undermining and underpricing previous purchases. And there's other reasons to it as well. I think in the chat I had with him, I brought it up to him and I was like, but hang on, you've got clubs for half the price. Why would someone want to do that? I guess, and I think that's a genuine question. Like, why? And I guess as long as they're not being shoehorned and real forced into their face to buy a club pack, which I think is what they previously people got the impression of, like, you can't play MFL without having a pack. I'm hoping that now new users get the trial clubs, they play for a season, they get more familiar with MFL, the site, the mechanics, how it works, check out the marketplace. Well, actually, if I really enjoy the game, I can pick it up for $45. And it may not help MFL from a revenue point of view directly because they're not selling the club pack, but it does from a community point of view from purchasing secondary market.
I think they should reduce the price of the packs to like transition your clubs, because I guess if you play the whole season with your trial club, you want to keep the club and the design and history that you made with it. I guess.
I think Matt said something they could do is like a promo for the trial club users upgrading to that full club.
Yeah,
that could be Palmer in terms of the replacement of the promo club. They buy their upgraded club with a kickoff pack. I would kind of like to see a bit more than that, but I don't know how they would.
I think even then it's too expensive, because you don't want the new user to pay $80 for your club, and then as soon as they hit buy it, it's like worth only 40.
Yeah, I guess
it's like.
I guess the argument is that some people will do that though. Some people don't. I think there's the option too, but I think I'm in the kind of boat where I wouldn't mind it being decreased a little bit. Yeah.
So, I mean, I've just had a look. So, your Flint floor is $48 and your stone floor is $55. So
yeah, there's
$7 to skip 4 promotions. Now, I was speaking to Samoves the other day, and he spent, I think, 6 seasons trying to get out of ice or something. That for $7, you can bypass all that crap and go straight to stone. Now, my other thought is, would we ever see MFL do club buybacks and where they just discard the club and give out do we think that could be done? So we've seen MFL Diamond account go and buy players off the marketplace to give to Calvo #Hankies out. And hope you're doing well, Calvo, missing you. And MFL before have dipped their toes into the marketplace, bought players out, bought clubs out, and sent it on the way. Would there be anything against, the MFL account going, right, we're going to have, $10,000. Let's go buy all the Flint clubs for $48, and then we can resell them back for $79. I wouldn't be against that, because you've profited $80, you've bought it back at 40, and you're selling it again for 80. But all you're doing then is lifting up everybody else that owns, the people that want to leave Flint get their $48, which is floor, see you later, crack on. And it pushes everything else up to where stone is no longer $50, $55, because it would like skew it out, and they can do that. I mean, I don't know whether the team would ever be against doing that and kind of just reissuing the club back in packs. And we've heard about it before. I'm guessing Snake and Zootert, I'm not sure if you were about, with the discarding players. Do you remember that, Jimbo?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
you sent it on
It was the
evaluate.
MFL integrated the evaluate trading functionality within MFL, and that trading to MFL was essentially a burning mechanism, is what it
Yes,
was. Yeah.
and you know, so is it a case that if you want to burn your club for, you know, going to use So Rare. I'm not very good with So Rare, but I think I've been shown there's like bot accounts which are other users, but they'll basically do what Snake did and buy it off you for 60% of market value. You know, could you burn your club for $45? See you later, and let you know. There is things that could clean up the game. It would be interesting to see what they do, because I don't think with the players, the market's going to shake itself out and be fine in 5 seasons.
Yeah.
We're all in agreement, but I think we all sit here looking at the club market, and the reason I'm running 8 clubs today is because I couldn't sell a Spark club for $42 at the start of the season. I just physically couldn't. I was like, no, I'd rather hold and get, you know, my 20 MFL.
I think so. What you say there's we need Snake to start doing his agency buying for 60% again, and be that. Is that? I think. Yeah, you need. I think you need to bring it back, mate. That, as much as it's like buying people out and then that person making a profit by some people just going, oh, they're just being crafty, but it's a natural. It's a natural. It's a bit like flipping. It can be frowned upon, but it's a way to quickly move funds between people, and it's a part of an economy. Like someone buying something for cheap and selling it for more because the person selling can't be bothered to wait. That's literally, it's like the cheaper you get it for is the convenience of saving time. So Snake, we need you back. We need you back, mate. We need you back.
I'm just waiting for club delegation, and then I'm ready to buy like 50 clubs, I guess. Right. So I have the money sitting in my depot account. I was hoping it would be this season to like scoop up some. I think pre-season it was 40.
You've just got to say, for I'm not buying anything until a block button appears, and then hold them ransom, give them an ultimatum: block button, or no buys.
Yeah.
Boycott buy. No, I'm not going to say that. I think they are in a bit of a tricky situation. Zootert, what are your thoughts on that sort of club bit? Anything that comes to your mind that could be done, or is it just we've got to change our expectations and sit back?
No, yeah, it's been shit, and I don't have the brains to say how to fix it. So I think Palmer brings up some good points there, but yeah, it's just a shit situation the game is in. That we all have to deal with at the moment, and I'm the same with my lower teams. I don't really care too much about them, but at these prices, I just don't care to sell them.
Yeah. What I want to work with Flint clubs was there's obviously a lot of, when trial clubs were announced, and then obviously going in Flint, the bottom div, there was obviously going to be people who would just drop out midway through the season. That seems to, this weekend, people have sort of gone, oh, like, I'm not happy that everyone in my league is now like forfeiting or something like that. And, great if you're the person benefiting from it, but, you get angry when it's your opponent who you're competing for the title with gets a forfeit as well, even though you've benefited off the same 3 points anyway. But some people have discussed about Flint and overall caps. It's a hot topic, and I want to get everyone's takes, even if you agree or disagree, on what your thoughts on a cap for an overall cap would be for Flint. I'll start with you, Zootert. What are your thoughts on that? For or against it?
4. I don't know where the cap should be, because I really haven't looked at what the normal quality would be for Flint, but I would definitely be for it if you see that some people are running full rare teams in there. That it just doesn't make sense, and it really takes out the enjoyment of the trial group users who are trying to understand the game for the first time.
Yeah. Palmer, your thoughts?
Don't care.
All right, Snake, your thoughts?
Yeah, I want one as well. I guess it's time to save the new users.
It's
from
hashtag
the big
save the new users.
Yeah.
Should we have that as a hashtag? Hashtag save the new user.
Sure. Yeah.
I think it's hashtag block button.
No, I think that's fair. I think we need some more widespread acknowledgement and awareness of this block button, and I'm prepared to make this week's hashtag block
Thank you.
button. And if I don't see all three of you posting it at 6:30 on the dot tomorrow when the episode's released, you got a price to pay. But you would like to see a cat being introduced into Flint though, Snake, just to help those new users out and not make their life a misery. And I guess it also, it gives them a better experience.
I think an easy way to do it would have been to put the trial clubs in a separate league. I don't really understand why they put them in Spark or Flint in the first place. Doesn't really make much sense to me, especially now with all of them forfeiting. I think some users will now gain an advantage because if you rested against the team and then you still lost, then now the 3 points are gone, and others will get 3 points.
It depends on how the schedule went. If you played all of those trial clubs the first 6 games, you're going to be battling against an active squad, whereas afterwards you're not. This is probably the one time where I've sort of been more leaning towards a cap. Forever, I've always said I don't like maximum caps, because MFL should always go down the route of incentivizing not to play in that division, but they can't force you not to play in that division. You can't tell someone how to play. You can just tell them what's the most effective way of playing, if that makes sense. Is it that progression for uncommon upwards and Flint just gets fucking fully nuked, and you just can't get any progression? That's just... I think that's something that maybe not putting a cap, but if you put a rare in Flint, you're getting fucking no match progression, mate. You are getting piss. I think, using a couple of swear words because I'm passionate about this, but I think you should just nuke progression. It might be you probably do get nuke progression anyway. I don't know the exact discrepancies and whatever between overalls for match ratings and etc. But
pretty minimal.
Yeah, I think they should get nuked.
Whenever you send a contract out to a player that is too high for your team, it does say in the contract tab that a player of this quality usually plays in this and this division. Do you think it would help to actually show the progression penalty there?
If they could put it on there, it could be. It just visualizes it a bit more, because how many people realistically read the white paper, read that? There only really 2 pages that I think matter in the white paper, and it's literally the player development, player progression, that page counts, and then the player, what makes up the overall, and then once a season, how the hell do playoffs work? Because that always gets lost. How the hell to bring up that graphic? Here's how playoffs work. So they're probably the most important pages in the white paper. If they could somehow integrate that into there and say, if you play them in Flint, you're going to get 50% of your XP. But they're always going to still get at least 50%, aren't they? Because of the training, they're still going to get something. Should they be nuked more?
Should. Yeah.
What do we think?
I would say so.
What do we think about these secondary position freaks and high
good
jumpers?
Lord.
If we, you cap it. I don't know what 60 in Flint. I don't play Flint properly,
and there's still a way to loophole it, isn't there?
And you're then coming up against 65 out of position weirdos or somebody that's progressed.
But I guess you could make the rules with the tournaments. You have
rarity caps for the matches or something.
No,
what do you mean?
Or they have a cap of 700. The team that's actually playing the game.
Yeah.
So that gets rid of all the position players.
Imagine if.
And then I would say you could have 50%. I guess training penalty for 70 overall and upwards in Flint, and then for matches you also get 50% penalty or no XP at all if you go above 65 overall, and then that also gets rid of all of position players. So I guess there's some easy ways to do it.
Some easy ways to do it. Hire Snake, he'll sort it out for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Basties, out you go, mate. Snake's coming in. I do think it's a tricky one for them to try and. Is it something they even see as being needing a fix? because they may see it as just a natural, what is it, Charles Darwin, survival of the fittest. It's basically that. Flint is basically that. It's an absolute PvP RuneScape environment where unless you've got 99 magic and 99 defense and a good bit of prayer, you're not doing that well. Sorry, I saw some stream of old school RuneScape, classic RuneScape today. So so that's why it's come to the forefront of my mind. Didn't expect to be talking about that today. But I'm leaning more towards a cap, but I just don't know how, because like you said, Palmer, people will try and loophole that and and get around it. We saw that with the blooming goal rush. Within 45 minutes, the MLB community has found a way to score 15 plus goals in a match and try and fast track a 40-hour event into 20 hours. Like, the community will try and find a way to get around it. So therefore, is it even worth it in the first place? But could something be done? Yes. Do we have a clue what that could be? I don't know.
I mean, all you then do in Flint, you put a ceiling on it at 60 overall. You've then put a new premium on 58 to 60 overall players. Players who are 55 and below are useless because what's the point? People who have secondary positions are going to have an unfair advantage where nobody can do anything to actually combat it unless you have your own. You get promoted, and is that overall cap even close to the bottom of the division, the Spark kind of minimum to avoid relegation, or is the jump too high? I mean, I wouldn't mind a soft cap of saying no rares in it. You know what I mean? Like, you can have 3 uncommons and whatever it might be. But I think whenever we talk about caps and you talk overalls, it's just I don't have the time of day for the conversation. I think the MFL team has said they're not going to do it, and if you're gonna, we've just pay $7 and play in stone. Shut up.
There you go. Pay $7, fork up the cash, and just go into stone. What are your guys' thoughts on some people saying like, "Oh, I've loaned out a player. They're now gone under 60% fatigue, so they're not going to be, they could potentially be forfeiting matches depending on how many that squad has got, and they're not earning trading XP. Do you think you should be able to recall them? Or maybe for a fee, you should be able to recall them? If it's pure negligence from the manager that literally they're just inactive.
I think they should just get maximum XP from training. Like, give them more training XP until the manager comes back and plays them again. That would be my
Because some people basically, what's happening is people are loaning to a trial club, kind of not realizing it's a trial club, and then finding out that trial club user is inactive, and their 3 players, because it can only be 3 max, are suddenly getting nothing.
Yeah, but what do you do if you recall a player and then the guy comes back? Because I don't know, we had some guy in like 2 seasons ago that went on some cruise or something, and he had no Wi-Fi during the 2 weeks, and then like his team forfeited a bunch of matches, and then he came back. So then suddenly he has no team.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think
it's a tricky one. I think it's just is it due diligence and being aware of the risk of loaning to a trial club. I think it's just probably that.
It goes back as well though, Snake, where you talk, like delegation. If people like that serious player going on a 2-week holiday, let me delegate my club, come back in 2 weeks, that's fine. I think when we're talking scenarios around a Flint club being inactive, I've just looked, my lowest fitness is 48%. We're not even halfway through the season, he's on 48%. I'm not going to get any, I'm not getting anything out of that guy now. That's a different scenario, and I'm going to go down another rabbit hole, so I'm going to shut myself up. But this, in my opinion, as the quote unquote agency role that, I don't know whether it's called or not, the person with the player loaning out, it's so bad that, agents are kind of forced to not send players to these clubs and then get burnt. Some more needs to be done on, I think, the agent end, so they can scan and say, right, where's this player going? Do I want it? And kind of, if you give them the ability as an agent to have proper checks on where they're going, the agent now can't complain, I don't think, if you go inactive. But whilst you've not got the ability to see, is it, whatever trial club, yada, 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 and then you get burnt, that's a kind of different scenario that is, I think it's a difficult one, but I'd like to recall, mid-season, send a recall, or even a case of, say if I can request a recall of my loan player, and if that recall doesn't get answered within 5 days, it automatically comes back. 5 days of not checking your inbox to see it. I think that's fair.
Yeah, who's surely they've if they're not checking after 5 days, they're just not sad. Maybe they're happy people. They're checking every day. They're surely sad people. No,
I was going to say Dane and his plus 30,000 unread inbox would be screwed with all his players.
He's trying to
and recalled back before rewards.
He's clearly trying to match his iPhone unread mail messages, or whatever that everyone has. There's 9 million. He's trying to clearly match that. Before we come on to the question from Sid, does anyone else have any sort of bursting topics they want to discuss before we head towards the end here? Any block button, Snake? Any last call? We've got the hashtag of #block button. Any last requests?
No.
Just goalkeeper behaviour in the block button. That sounds about it. So the question from Sid, who was our last guest, was: if you had the ability to create a custom card in the game, which IRL football player's card would that be and why? So I guess kind of saying any IRL football player, who would you want to bring in as a card? Zootert, we'll come to you first.
I don't think I have a particular player in mind, but just to be able to compare what would be an actual pro player's level compared to an MFL player's level, because for all we know, all of the MFL players are Sunday League footballers, and we just think they're the greatest ever because we have no way to compare them to actual real life players. So
go on.
Yeah, I don't have a player in particular, but it would be fun to see what a actual player's overall would be in the game.
Palmer, I see you smiling there. I feel like you might have a player lined up.
My thought went down a few different players. With the fact that MFL doesn't have injuries, there's quite a few players who have massively injury-prone careers that I would love to bring in MFL and see the heights that they went. Players where if they didn't have glass knees in game, go on, Jimbo, who you Google?
I know. I was trying to remember the name. It's the Man City player, Michael Johnson. Do you remember him? No, Man City player. He was riddled with injuries. I'm pretty sure, and he was touted of being. I think it was injuries that did him in.
So anyway, so yeah, I mean, the main one for me would be a Daniel Sturridge. All the technical ability, the physical attributes. Absolute wonder of a left foot, hampered by injury problems, and then you've got just on a Premier League level, the likes of I don't know, like a Jack Wilshere and stuff. When he was younger,
like a Wilshere, yeah.
An Oxlade-Chamberlain. I remember the goal when he was playing for Liverpool. Absolutely twatted it from 40 yards out, screamer. Thought we're onto a worldie, and he gets injured. So that's what I'd like. Any injury-prone player who was in the newspaper as a teenager that he was going to be the next big thing, get him into MFL and let's see what they do.
I do quite like that, actually. Yeah, big injury player. See what they're going to like. See their progression. Who's going to manage them? Snake, can you give me a name? Not Zootert. I'm not going to give you a name, and not Palmer's beat around the bush. I just want an injury-prone player. Can you give me an actual footballer?
Yeah, I want to see Messi, so then we never have to complain about decision making again. We can just say that the engine is perfect every time.
So then you get Messi, and then if he does have a bad performance. But would you go down the route of playing him in, say, like Spark Division, which is basically the equivalent of him playing in MLS? Is that? I
think that's a bit harsh, but
what, to Messi or the MLS? No. He has just signed a new deal, hasn't he?
To Spark.
He signed a new deal for 3 years, I think Messi has, with the option to sort of every season to basically say, I want to go on a year or not. So, no, I was going to say there's some good answers there. There's some questionable answers there. None of them really, some of them didn't answer the question, but I'll allow it for the sake of time. Whoever our next guest may be, because there's all three of you on it, I'm going to allow you to individually ask questions, unless you want to collectively, smash heads together and think of a question together. Palmer, do you want to do it on behalf of the rest of the group as well?
On behalf of the committee, obviously myself, I've got my Palmer's wonderful light bulb. If whoever the next guest is, if you could pick anybody in the MFL community to have their own emoji within the Discord, what, I don't know, agent, user, Discord user would it be, and what emoji should they have? That is my question.
So I guess to give a rundown on what people are already on there, to an extent, we've got Josh Sargent, not really an MFL community member, but maybe he is, and we just don't know about it. We've got you, Palmer, with your little light bulb. There's one of me on there, even though it's not explicitly about me, it's just me on there. We've got Taggart with his little, like thumbs up one. I think that's it. You got Yak's Bomb, you got the Quinton Beans, but we're talking more from a.
I mean, you suggest if you want a dev, I don't mind. I mean, I've been an advocate for Bastiste getting his own one.
Yeah,
I think he deserves one more than Mathurin.
No, I think it's a good question. I just looked at the emojis and there's one of a spork in MFL Discord. I'm a bit confused by that one. They have got a tinfoil hat though, which I quite like. They've added the tinfoil hat, and a few other ones in there. So no, I think it's a good question. So right, gents, we'll wrap things up there. Remember, folks, it's #block_button or #save the new users, whichever you probably want to prefer. But it better be #block_button. Otherwise, Snake will come and buy your agency for 20% of its value and sell it for at least double that. But before we wrap this episode, we want to say big thanks to the guests on today. Zootert, thank you for coming on, sir.
Very welcome, mate.
Oh, perfect. Palmer, cheers, mate. All right, and then sorry, I just blocked Palmer there. That's why he was on mute. That's why I wasn't speaking. He was on mute. Yours. Palmer, thank you for coming on the episode today, sir.
Thank you for having me and listening to my shite once again.
Well, I've got to do it for another 2 hours after this one, editing it, so I'll let you know after that tomorrow morning how it's gone.
Hi, Mum.
Snake and Mrs. Snake, thank you for being on the pod. It's been a great first show from you, and hopefully we'll have you again on in the future. Thank you for coming on, Snake.
Yeah. Great to be on.
Good man. Right, so #block_button. Make sure you're in the pack drop stream on Wednesday. Good luck for those rest of group stage games in the cups. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll catch you this time next week, an episode of the WenDirkCast. Thank you for listening. Bye.